Sup, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy Dark Raku here with what if Takemichi, not easy. What if Takemichi was a marine? Now, I've been actually thinking this mostly the whole day about this what if, and I was just like thinking, maybe I should do something like this because, well, for fuck's sakes, I don't know why, but I literally thought of marine and mostly Tokyo Revengers. I have no clue. I was just probably doing something else. I don't have no clue. But not the point. But that is not the point here or there. Let me just begin into this what if. This is part one of this one well, mostly yeah, part one of this what if. So let me begin into this what if. So we begin into mostly a person kind of wearing kind of these black shades. Not really black shades, but they're kind of like a darkish gray. This is where, well, he has kind of tannish skin, having kind of like black wavy hair for mostly, yeah, black wavy hair somewhat, but it's kind of like short, medium, but not the point. This is where, well, he has somewhat of like a mostly stump kind of growing, mostly like a beard, and at the same time, like well, yeah, he has like a short kind of black beard that's growing down on his chin, with mostly a mustache also kind of growing on his face. He kind of shaved it a while ago, but yet it's kind of growing back again. He also wears this mostly grayish kind of suit. Mostly he's wearing black dressing shoes with this gray kind of suit that also kind of matches up with his pants. This is where, well, he has a bow tie, not the point, mostly a blue bow tie, and around, mostly behind him is mostly like this white coat to seem like he's a higher ranking marine. But this is where, well, he's walking through the kind of like some entry doors pretty easily, like casually just walking through them. This is where, well, he then kind of thinks about something. He does know that he is going to leave mostly this place because of the fact that he's going back home. Now, he hasn't really visited his family that much. Actually, he never did visit with them too much. But he's actually going to go visit them just to see what has happened in a very specific kind of place in Japan. Mostly it's called Tokyo Shiba City. He wants to know if that place has probably just went down or no, he just really wants to go visit. Because, well, he did get a notification from his mother about something. Mostly if he's ever gonna go date anyone. Which mostly prompted him to actually think of a girl that he actually dated in middle school. But of course, this is where, well, he can't fully remember her name. This is where, well, he just kind of just like mostly rubs the chin, mostly his chin, for a second. But this is where, well, he starts kind of just walking towards mostly a door. Because where, well, he knocks at the specific door. Of course, this door is made out of steel. He knocks at it, and this is where someone says, "Come in." This is where, well, mostly the person opens the door and says, "Hello there, Vice Admiral." No, wait, let me say it again. He then says, "Hello there, Fleet Admiral Akaino." This is where, well, mostly the person looks to be like around 10 feet. He's just huge. Of course, mostly taller than this person. Well, not, well, kind of 10 feet, but not the point. This is where, well, mostly the person has mostly somewhat of a beard around him, similar to that of the person that's in front of him, mostly the person that's talking. Of course, he's smoking a cigar. This is where, well, he has a white hat on top of his head that actually says the word, yeah, let me say it again. Maureen, of course, is where he's wearing a white coat similar to the one that the other person's wearing a white suit, but still has this mostly like red kind of suit underneath this like white other suit. Mostly it's kind of showing a little bit on top of near his neck, but not the point. He also has a tattoo, but that's not the point either there. Doesn't work well. He is looking at mostly the young older man right now in front of him. Doesn't work well. He's the one sitting down smoking a cigar. Doesn't work well. He then says, his name was Akaino, and says this is where he says, hello there, Henegaki. Well, I have heard of your report that you're actually going to leave the Marines for mostly a couple of days. Well, it was nice to have you here in the Marines, but it seems that you're going back home. We would definitely, well, mostly, Akaino says, don't worry, the money that you earn throughout the whole life of Marine, you would definitely get paid. Well, at least it was good enough to have you here. Besides, you were actually one of the strongest Marines that we ever had. Some people might miss you. Kinda, maybe. I actually have no clue how many friends you've been made here or how many comrades. But that is not the point. Well, it seems that, well, I will be signing off on the paper so you can leave. Yes, well, the person down on as Hanagaki kind of nodded. Why, thank you, Fleet Admiral, kinda. Well, I should probably be going then. This is where, well, mostly Fleet Admiral nodded and just kind of told him that he can go now. And this is where, well, mostly the person starts walking away. He opens the door and walks away. And this is where, well, he's about to walk away entirely until he bumps into this older man. This is where, well, this old man that kind of looks to be wearing the same kind of outfit, a little bit same way, kind of, but having a blue kind of like, blue button-up shirt and with a blue tie, lightish blue tie. Of course, well, mostly the older man seems to be eating like a kind of bag of cookies. And this is where, well, mostly the person just kind of grins and saying, oh, hello there, Takemichi Hanagaki. This is where, well, he kind of said, almost a grin on his face. This is where, mostly Takemichi Hanagaki kind of just says, hello there, Garp-san. This is where, well, he just grins for a second, just kind of looks at Garp. This is where Garp just smiles and says, well, it's time to see you off to go back to your hometown. So while you're going there, are you gonna go date someone? Are you gonna go have children or what? This is where, well, Hanagaki, mostly Takemichi, kind of just blushes and says, what? No, I'm just going back to see my parents. Especially my mother. My mother wanted to see me mostly be around most of the time. Since she's kind of old and I need to kind of make sure that she doesn't like die too fast. Unlike my father that died about a while ago, but not the point. Fine. Well, you know, an old man like me will be around here. If you ever get in trouble or any of that shit again, or when you feel very, like, low in life, you can always come back to the marine and visit me. And also, do not call me in the middle of the night if you're so depressed. This is where Hanagaki just kind of switches up and says, I'm not gonna do that, Garp-san. I know that the last time I did that, you were so angry that you made me run around mostly in the entire country for mostly 3 hours or something. I can't remember. This is where, well, mostly Garp smiles and says, well, good luck, kid. This is where, well, mostly Hanagaki nodded and just starts walking away. And this is where I should mention how tall, well, mostly Takemichi Hanagaki. He's the height of being 5'10". He's actually quite shorter than half the people here because of the fact that he wasn't that much great person in middle school or any of that, or high school. He was not that good at any of that. But this is where, well, mostly the marine life actually gave him a chance to become a different person from his like middle school and high school life. But that would be not the point here or there. This is where, well, he is now going back towards mostly Tokyo. Tokyo, mostly Japan, Tokyo, Shiba City. He gets back to the place, and of course, well, he's right now kind of wearing, well, not really a suit. He's not wearing a suit right now. He's just wearing mostly a blank white t-shirt with mostly these like grayish cargo pants. This is where, or not grayish cargo pants, mostly grayish cargo shorts. Wearing sandals, and of course having a briefcase, but not the point. He also then met some of his like comrades. A person with mostly kind of this like yellowish stripe kind of like shirt and also pants, but of course like white shoes, but not the point. He also had a white coat and like shades on his face, and of course his name was mostly Kazaru. Kazaru. This is where, well, he was quite interesting half the time. He always talked really slow in Hanagaki's case. Of course, he met the person. If the person was interesting most of the time, but not the point. Of course, he also met, well, some other people. Like one is, what's it called? One person's name, what's it called? So a person with pinkish hair, kind of longish pinkish hair. Of course, where, well, he had kind of like blackish, well. This is where the person had onyx eyes. Now, of course, the where, well, pinkish hair, onyx eyes, and of course, the where, well, he had some goggles on top of his head. This is where, well, he wore a kind of like white uniform outfit with blue jeans, and of course, mostly a white coat on him, but not the point. This is where, well, he had black dressing shoes, and this is where, well, he was just grinning at the fact that Hanagaki was actually leaving. Of course, he wished Hanagaki the best of mostly his life. And of course, mostly Issei kind of wished Kobe the best of his life also. But of course, they didn't really call each other from the last name. Mostly Issei calls Kobe Kobe. And of course, or even pink hair. Or mostly Kobe just calls, Takemichi Taka, mostly Taki, or just Michi or whatever, or usually just calls him depressing, but yeah, sometimes. Or just dark shades, but not the point. But of course, mostly both of them just like to insult each other, but really it's not insulting, it's just all good and fun. But of course, mostly we go back into mostly Takemichi appearing back in Tokyo Shiba City. This is where, well, mostly he kind of looks at a TV screen, and this is where, well, he kind of noticed something. An incident happened. This is where, well, he looks at the incident, and this is where, well, the incident was mostly a car crash. Well, a supposed car crash from a gangster rival kind of intervener or something. Those were two incident deaths. One girl with pinkish hair, and of course, probably so a girl with kind of like pinkish orangey eyes, and of course, mostly she was kind of shown on the picture on the TV news because mostly there was just a TV's kind of near some windows, but not the point. That's where, well, mostly the blackish hair person looks to the side and sees someone named Hinata, or also known as Hima, but not the point. Hinata Tayajabana kind of has died in the car crash with the incident of a rival gang member. But of course, another person has also died. The younger brother of Hinata Taijuba being, well, Naro Taichu. Yeah, but not the point. This is where, well, mostly he died also. Mostly as a kid, with, or mostly not a kid, mostly an older looking person with mostly darkish blue hair and blackish hair, but not the point. This is where, well, Issei notices and says, I see. Or not Issei, mostly it was none of Takemichi. He looks quite saddened, actually depressing looking a little bit. But this is where, well, he decides to kind of go visit his mother. Of course, even though he was depressed. He remembers those people now. He remembers Hinata, also known as Hima, and his, well, mostly middle school girlfriend. She still looks as beautiful as ever, but now she's dead. Which mostly pissed the fuck off out of mostly Takemichi. Also made him kind of have this very dangerous aura around him. But that is not the point here or there. He gets to a specific house, and when he gets into the house is where, well, he noticed that the house entry was open. He walks in it, of course, right now, preparing himself just in case he might have to kill anyone or whoever broke in. This is where, well, he actually pulls out a gun mostly from a luggage, and this is where the gun is actually quite a interesting kind of model. It's mostly a Desert Eagle, but not the point. This is where, well, mostly he's walking in, and this is where, well, he is right now sensing and looking around to see where his mother would be at. He doesn't sense his mother that more at all, kind of hear her. Usually we will hear like someone kind of saying, who are they, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this is where, well, he's kind of walked into mostly the bedroom of where his mother would be at until he noticed his mother being dead and like these three kind of like low thug members appear. This is where they have a crowbar with them, and mostly like one of them has a gun. This is where, well, they say, so this was Hanagaki's mother. Well, it was easier to kill her, and I can't believe Hanagaki doesn't live with them. Damn it, where will he be? This is where, well, mostly the door busts open in an instant. Before they can even react, Hanagaki, also known as Takemichi, right now pulls the gun right in front of him and starts blasting these motherfuckers down. Blows their brains clean because he was really good with a gun in the Marine. This is where, well, he looks at all three of them and says, pathetic bastards. This is where, well, he doesn't know who exactly they are, but he only thinks that they're just scum. And sees his mother being dead. This is where he's in nothing but rage and anger. This is where, well, the whole room around him exploded with energy. This is where cracking the ground. He is right now pissed entirely. He says, whoever did this to you, mother, I'll make them pay. I'll make them suffer. This is where, well, an energy or mostly wrap around him in an instant. But that is not the point here or there. Of course, well, we go into mostly a funeral. Of course, mostly of Issei kind of, well, not Issei, I'm not talking about Takemichi feeling sad for Hinata and even Nato. Of course, well, he also gets another mostly funeral for his mother, but yeah, he buries her, and of course, well, Issei, well, not Issei, yeah, why the hell do I keep saying Issei? God damn it, not Issei. Takemichi feels terrible, and this is where, well, Takemichi just says, I will revenge you, my mother. I'll make sure whoever they were, I'll kill them. But this is where, well, Takemichi is right now near a train station. He's just waiting for the train because he's actually going to go visit mostly somewhere that maybe would give him a hint. But before, even though he can, react, he got pushed into the train. This is where, well, Takemichi sees the train about to hit him, and this is where, well, the train was very close. This is where, well, he had no time to dodge, react, or any of that. This is where, well, the train, well, mostly, not mostly train smashes into Takemichi, but yeah. Let me get some water first. But of course, mostly, well, Takemichi gets killed by the train, but this is where, well, Takemichi disappears from mostly that world and appears back into, well, a different world. This is where when he opens his eyes, he kind of wonders why he feels shorter than ever. This is where, well, he's confused, but he then sees his old friends. His mostly kind of mostly four middle school friends that he never saw again. But he's confused why he's seeing them again. A guy with reddish hair and of course having mostly, well, kind of having like reddish, somewhat brownish eyes, but not the point. Having tannish skin, but of course, tannish skin. But this is where he has his red hair and like a, what's it called? One of that hairstyle, like what's it called? Josuke from, what's it called? Joestar? I forgot what it's called. But of course, mostly he has that kind of hairstyle. Of course, there's another guy with mostly blondish hair, and he has this kind of hairstyle, kind of like pointing up, because he kind of has mostly like this rubber band on top of his head, kind of putting his bang of hair to kind of be pushed up so they wouldn't get in his face. He also has glasses, and he has brownish eyes, also kind of tannish skin, but not the point. Tannish, palish, whatever. Mostly, the other guy is a kind of taller person, but with darker hair, and of course, black onyx eyes. I think they're black onyx. I can't remember. Fuck. But of course, well, he is basically also having tannish skin, palish, not the point. But yeah. So the last guy is mostly a guy with blondish hair, and of course, mostly like bluish. I think it's bluish or just brownish. I can't remember. Brownish eyes. Of course, basically, I like to call this guy Bootleg a Mikey because that's what he kind of looks like, but not the point. But of course, all kind of four of them are just looking at mostly Takemichi saying, "Are you okay?" This is where mostly Takemichi says, "I am fine." What year is it? Mostly Takemichi right now grabs his phone to check what time is it until he realized he had a flip phone. He hasn't had a flip phone since middle school. He had a kind of Galaxy kind of phone, mostly a smartphone. But of course, right now he has a flip phone. He's confused. This is why, well, mostly Takemichi just ignores his friends for a second and looks at the mirror. He realized that he is now in his middle school body. This is where he's confused. What the? He grabs his face and looks at it confused. He doesn't have his beard. He doesn't have, well, mostly his mustache that he shaved a while ago. He doesn't have, what's it called, his darker skin color because he's been in the sun for a while and training. He doesn't look too muscular. He's not 5'10" right now. He looks to be around like 4 something, but not the point. He doesn't have his blackish hair, mostly blackish wavy hair, and with shades on. And of course, well, he's looking confused. What the hell? He also noticed that he has the bluish eyes back again. He had mostly grayish silverish eyes, mostly when he was in the Marine. That's because of a lot of shit happened before in the Marines, but you don't need to know about it. This is where, well, he's confused. What the hell happened? This is where, well, a guy with reddish hair says, "Hey, let me say that again. Takemichi, what are you doing?" This is where Takemichi noticed both of his, mostly his friends, and this is where, Takemichi says, "Oh, nothing, I'll be there, don't worry." And this is where, well, Takemichi's kind of going over there. He noticed that he has some pocket change, literally just a couple cents, and this is where, well, he then realized, what the, how? I swear to God, I had more money. And wait, where's my Desert Eagle? This is where, well, he looks through his back of his pockets and realizes that he doesn't have his Desert Eagle. Are you fucking serious? Did I lose that? Oh, you son of a... But this... No. This is where, well, he starts thinking in his head. I'm back in my middle school body, and it's been over at least 20 years since I was in my middle school body. There's no way in hell, unless I went into time travel, but I don't. Well, then again, I have been on the sea, and a lot of shit does happen in the sea. Did I get hit by a Dofu user? Maybe that's the case. No, that won't be the case, because there's no such thing as Dofu users on land. They're always on the sea. That's not the point. So confusing. Whatever. This is where, well, he kind of just chases after his friends, and this is where, well, they're kind of walking. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi has his hands in his pocket, and this is where, well, they're walking. This is where, well, mostly one of them does talk about like they're gonna go fight the middle school, kind of like the other middle schools, kind of like whatever school because of blah 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 whatever, like original canon. And this is where, well, Takemichi's hearing this, but he's not really paying attention fully. This is where, when they get to the park to go see where the people are at, they notice that they are not there. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi kind of remembers now what happened this day. This is where, well, it made his blood boil in an instant. Because when the actual high schoolers appear, mostly those like grown-up high schoolers appear, kind of just say, huh? Or not high schoolers, mostly 30 years. They said, huh? What are you goddamn middle schoolers here? Oh wait, you're gonna try to, I heard you guys are trying to attack our mostly second years. So for that, we're gonna have to beat the shit of you. Mostly, they did talk trash to mostly Haneki's mostly cousin, and of course he went to go buy drinks. But this is where, well, when he went to go buy drinks, mostly Takemichi's friends did have to fight against mostly third years, but they still got their ass kicked in an instant. None other than Takemichi is looking at these third years with mostly disdain on his face. This is where, well, he then kind of decides to close his eyes in an instant and just to see if he can sense still. He realized that he can still sense for some reason, even though in his mostly middle school year he never could sense or use even armor and hawking, because he actually noticed that his hand actually was coated in black stuff. This is where, well, he then thinks that maybe he can still use conquerors. There's mostly 3 types of hawking that he actually learns in the Marines. Mostly these 3 types of abilities. It's one called armament hawking, one is called conqueror's hawking, and the other one is called opposition hawking. Conqueror's hawking was a little tricky to learn, but maybe he can learn it now in his middle school kind of years. But that is not the point here or there. He also realized that he is kind of scrawny, but then again, even though he's scrawny, he shouldn't be, well, taken too lightly. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi just kind of walks towards mostly the third years, and the third years thinks that mostly Takemichi has given up, until this is where Takemichi sends a powerful kick into this guy's stomach in an instant, coating it with armament hawking. The guy got knocked down in an instant. Mostly he was the leader of all the third years. This is where they were shocked in an instant, and this is where Takemichi says, "You scumbags are annoyed the fuck out of me so much." This is where, well, one of them tries to grab Takemichi, but this is where Takemichi grabs her hand in an instant and started crushing his hand slowly into the guy's hand. The guy said, let go of me! This is where, well, Takemichi started closing his hand entirely closer and closer until he starts snapping bones in the guy's hand. The guy was screaming in pain, saying, what the hell are you? You're no fucking second year! This is where, well, Takemichi says, shut up. This is where Takemichi lets go of the person's hand, but this is where he backhands the person in an instant, knocking his fucking teeth out and smashing him down to the ground. This is where the other third years realize that they are not supposed to fuck with this person. This is where Takemichi is showing a fucking intellectual kind of mind of like a supreme mostly fighter. He is right now not showing off too much, but still, he's showing off enough to kind of make the third years, the others, kind of afraid. This is where one of them tried to stab Takemichi from behind because Takemichi wasn't looking, but this is where Takemichi sensed the person. This is where he dodges to the side and the person was actually surprised. This is where Takemichi sends a powerful knee into the guy's hand, smashing his hand up, and this is where throwing the knife up in the air, grabbing the knife and having it right towards the guy's eye, because he grabs the guy from the hair and has the knife to his eye. You want to really talk about using weapons? Let me show you and pluck that damn eye out right now. Do you really want to keep using a knife? You know I can always pluck out your little eye out and make sure to make you eat it, you little bitch. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi was right now acting completely different. He was acting like if he was in his older self body. Mostly his older, wiser body. Mostly as if he was a Marine. This is where, well, the person was right now gulping, realizing that this person is not a second year. He's merciless as hell. It reminds him way too much of mostly Mikey. Mostly someone that in the near future, well, Takemichi might meet later on, but not the point. But this is where, well, mostly the person was dropped down to the ground, and of course a knife was actually implanted into the guy's leg, because mostly Takemichi still had it in his hand, but he just chucked it into the guy's leg in an instant, stabbing it into the guy. The guy screams out in pain. This is where the other third years just ran away after a while. Mostly the guy who came with the drinks, mostly the cousin of Takemichi's, kind of says, guys, where are you? This is where he noticed his cousin, and his cousin looks at him with such a murderous gaze. This is where, well, the guy almost shit himself entirely. This is where Takemichi kind of walks up to mostly his cousin, and he bitch slapped with the car his cousin in an instant. Pathetic weakling. How the fuck are we even related? This is where, well, when you can't even stand up for yourself. This is where, well, his cousin was shocked, but this is where he gets angry and tries to fight Takemichi. But this is where Takemichi grabs his fist, flips him over in an instant, and smashes him down to the ground. Can't even fight for yourself, and you're such a pathetic weakling of my cousin. There's no way in hell we're related at all. This is where, well, mostly his cousin tries to get up, but this is where he gets kicked in the stomach so hard, knocked out. Even though I haven't been able to, well, I'm scrawny, I'm still able to kind of dodge and other things just like my older body. But I shouldn't, well, this is where, well, Takemichi says, but I shouldn't kind of restrain my body too much, because I'm not as my older self. Mostly he's thinking in his head. That's why I'm gonna train like hell. If I'm back into the past, for whatever goddamn reason, I'm going to train like hell, so I can protect those I love. Even, what's it called, Hinata, mostly Hima. I'll protect her. If I have a second chance, then I'll protect everyone. I'll become a hero of this mostly Tokyo. I will destroy every delinquent that I see. This is where, well, he then thinks in his head, yes, that'll be the case. This is where, well, he then notices his friends, and this is where, well, mostly Takemichi goes up to his friends and starts picking them up. This is where, well, literally just picking them up and putting them on his back. This is where, well, Takemichi says, they became lighter? Well, not the point. Maybe they lost a lot of blood. Not the point. Mostly Takemichi is quite strong. He just always had mostly this nervous kind of not having that much courage in the mostly original anime, or mostly not original anime, the original timeline. But in this one, he has lots of courage, and of course, he has mostly this ghostly kind of like weighted, well, mostly weight. Just like if you had ghostly pain, he mostly thinks that they are kind of light, but then again, they are heavy. But mostly Takemichi has adrenaline rush, somewhat, not much. But this is where, well, he's kind of just starts kind of bringing them to the hospital or whatever. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi does not remember the hospital, so of course it takes him a while. But of course, it's good training to use his friends as literally fucking, well, mostly weights, but not the point. Takemichi is going to make his body strong as fuck, just like his original body in, what's it called, well, in the future. But for right now, he's going to just train like hell. But we go into a time skip of mostly Takemichi doing that. Of course, the word, well, he actually goes, after putting his friends in the hospital or whatever, he goes to actually check on, well, mostly Hinata, also known as Hime, but not the point. This is where, well, he goes towards, well, to see Hima, and this is where, well, he knocks at the door, and this is where Hima opens the door saying, hello? This is where, well, mostly Takemichi grins and says, ah, Hima, you're fine. This is where, well, mostly Hima said, of course I'm fine. Also, did you get in a battle? This is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, no. This is where, well, he had a little bit of like a scrape on his face, and this is where, well, mostly Hima kind of just narrow her eyes and says, then what is it? This is where Takemichi says, I bumped into someone when I was coming over here. Mostly Takemichi lied smoothly as hell. This is where, well, mostly Hima nodded and says, I see. Well, wait here for a second. This is where, well, she went inside to get a bandage and puts him on his face and says, next time, don't bump into people too fast. Why were you even rushing over here? Takemichi says, you know, just to check on you, just to make sure you're fine. This is where, well, mostly Hima says, okay. Well, I'll be kind of seeing you around then. This is where, well, Takemichi says, yeah. This is where, well, he walks away, and of course, this is where, well, he kind of has mostly flowers and hearts kind of floating around him, and this is where he's happy to see Hima again. She's quite beautiful. This is where, well, we'll see in his opinion, but not the point. This is where, well, he decides to go down. Mostly he's still near the apartments, but this is where he gets down to the swing and just thinks about mostly life. Until he hears mostly bullies actually bullying this kid. Now this kid is actually kind of being like getting bullied and his money being taken. This is where Takemichi doesn't like this and likes to always fight for the weak. He's like an underdog, but not the point. This is where, well, Takemichi starts walking towards these guys, and this is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, hey, let go of the poor boy, or do you want me to break your teeth in? This is where Takemichi said in a very menacing voice, and of course his aura appears behind him, right now scaring the shit out of the three boys and running away. This is where, well, we'll see the person kind of say, thank you. This is where Takemichi says, yeah, you're welcome, kid. This is where, well, we'll see Takemichi went down to sit back down, and this is where, well, the kid says, that was so cool. So, what's your name? This is where, well, Takemichi said, huh? Oh, the name's Takemichi Hanagaki. What's your name? This is where, well, mostly the boy says, the name is, what's it called? This is where, well, he says, the name is Naru Tachibana. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi then thinks about it and just thinks that maybe he can ramble on with mostly what he saw in the future. Mostly, he does talk to the kid about it, and this is where, well, he then says, in the near future, kid, in mostly this Pacific, mostly time and age, a car accident will happen, and you will be the one to actually try to save your sister on it. This is where, well, a tribe, because mostly Takemichi explains in the near future he's a marine, but not the point. This is where, well, mostly he then handshakes the kid like still in original canon, but this is where, well, mostly he then appears back into the future, confused, but this is where, well, mostly he opens his eyes and realizes he's actually in the police station. Wait, what the fuck? Wasn't I hit by a train a while ago? This is where, well, mostly he's looking around until he sees an older looking Nato appear right in front of him. This is where, well, Nato says, the name's Nato Tajibana. Hello there, Takemichi Hanagaki. This is where Takemichi says, Nato? Holy shit! Didn't I talk to you about like 2 seconds ago? Wait, what the hell? This is where Nato says, well, we should talk privately then about that. This is where, well, mostly Nato explains and what actually happened. Mostly it seems that they have a connection to the past and the future, and this is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, I see. That's quite an interesting way for a devil fruit to use, but not the point. This is where, well, he doesn't say devil fruit, but this is where, well, he says, quite interesting. I see. So you're basically like a gateway from either the past or the time, the future. I see. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Well, do you have any ideas in how Hima actually dies, or does she get saved? This is where, well, Nato shakes his head saying no, she died in this one. It seems that the criminal organization, this is where, well, he shows the pictures and other things, and he does kind of tells Takemichi how to, well, to study and all the criminal records and other things, and this is where Takemichi does. He doesn't actually like become lazy or just doesn't want to. He's actually quite good. He actually had good grades and mostly being a Marine for being quite, well, mostly intelligent, smart, and quite strong, but not the point. This is where, well, he reads on every type of criminal organization that was mostly in the past or in the future. This is where, well, he read upon the Black Dragons, the, what's it called, mostly the South, mostly someone named the South, Tarano, not the point. He was a criminal back then. He was a biker gang, but not the point. There was also mostly like Toma and other kind of gangs, like what's it called, Moses, the Valhalla. There was also other gangs like, well, mostly Tangels, but not the point. This is where, well, he actually reads upon mostly one of the leaders of Tangels, being that of mostly Izana. This is where, well, he mostly sees Izana, and he had quite hatred towards mostly a Pacific person named Manjo Sano. This is where he read upon the Toma and read that Manjo Sano was the leader, and quite a disarming, what's it called, mostly criminal boss. Mostly, not disarming, but mostly someone that's being able to disillusion the cops all the time, but not the point. But yeah. Of course, the word Takemichi sees this and says, I see. Now, Takemichi is back into his original body, basically looking like this, but not the point. Here's the word Takemichi says, I see. Well, that's quite interesting. Yes, interesting. Well, how about this? I won't be able to probably assassinate the, what's it called, the Sano guy too soon, because I am also going to try to clean up all the criminals back then. If I clean up all the criminals, maybe there will be a good chance that I'll be able to save Hima in the future. And that also means I'm gonna clean up and beat the shit out of Manjo Sano, being Mikey, or just Manjo Sano, and of course the others. This is where, well, he explains this to mostly Nato. This is where Nato says, but isn't it better just to take out Sano right now in the past? This is where, well, mostly Takemichi grabs mostly Nato from the shoulder and says, listen up here, kid. I'm older than you anyway. I have more experiences in the Marines. If I take out one specific person, I will also have to deal with others. So it's better for me to go back into the past, train my body to looking like this, and probably also grow a little bit higher, because I actually want to be at least 6'2" when I come back into the future, but not the point. And I will admit my feelings to your sister anyway, but not the point. This is where Nato says, hey, wait, what? This is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, but that is not the point. I'll train my body as hard as I can. And when I knock out every criminal boss, this is where, well, he pulls out the books and mostly criminal records. When I knock out all of these criminals out in the past, and then fight against Sano in mostly also past, mostly near future past, but not the point, I will be able to figure out which one would cause a problem, and maybe I can be able to stop them from causing a problem in the near future if you think about it. This is where, well, mostly Nato nodded. mostly Takemichi is the only one that's actually going back to the past, so he can't really do anything in stopping mostly Takemichi's hero quest, but not the point. Besides, I was trained by the strongest marine in the world, not the point. I also have a very righteous sense, but that's not the point either. Doesn't work well. Mostly, not to not it. He kind of did read upon mostly Takemichi's records, and basically he is a marine. So he should probably let the marine do what he knows best, and that is knocking the fuck out of criminals. Specifically pirates, but mostly biker gangs and pirates are kind of the similar same. This is where mostly Natonade and just handshakes, well, mostly Takemichi. This is where Takemichi wakes up, and this is where, well, he kind of realizes, well, he's back into the past. Now he's in his room, and this is where Takemichi does not waste a single minute, not a single second, to start training. He woke up at 4 o'clock. He did not care. He started training like hell, doing some running around, kind of daily, but not the point. He did like a 10-kilometer run, but that's not the point. Even though his body felt like he wanted to just die, he did not care. He did push-ups, like 200 push-ups, 200 squats, and other kind of different types of training. Also, like mostly sit-ups, 200 or 300, but whatever. He might have accidentally overdid it, but not the point. He did a bunch of different types of training regimens, not all the time in the same kind of day. Mostly they're all different, but not the point. Every week, but not the point. But mostly he just starts training his body. This is where he misses a couple days of school, but this is where he's getting towards school. Of course, he only trained for like mostly 1 week. Of course, his body, he had to let it kind of mostly heal, but it was kind of healing faster than normal. So of course, well, he just keeps training like hell. He kind of managed to get like a 4-pack right now for only training for a week, but not the point, because he was just training for mostly a couple of days, sleep for only 2 hours, and not the point. He slept for 2 hours before in the near future, being he's pretty good, but not the point. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi then goes up to mostly doing, well, going to school. He's getting to school, and this is where Takemichi is wearing his uniform, and this is where, well, he is actually talking to his friends. This is where, well, mostly they're saying that they were kind of in the hospital, and they were just like wondering if Takemichi was the one to save them. This is where Takemichi says, "Oh, don't worry, man. I got you guys. Those bullies actually let us go. Mostly those 3rd years." Really? Yeah. Mostly they were actually knocked out when mostly mostly Takemichi was beating the shit out of the 3rd years. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, other than that, let's just get to school. This is where they just shake it off and just kind of like go to school. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly they're in school now, but this is where, well, Takemichi decides to, before going to class, he decides to take out some of the criminals, or mostly he just thinks of them as criminals, but mostly some of gangs, troublemaker, delinquents in this school. So of course, mostly Takemichi goes to kind of find the delinquents. He finds them right now like smoking a cigar like outside near the back of the school, and this is where, well, they're bullying this kind of like freshman, or not freshman, like this 1st year who's actually like pretty looked to be kind of smart and has glasses. And this is where, well, Takemichi says, whatever, time to fight against these criminals. Whatever, time to show them the fist of justice. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi grins. But this is where, well, we go into Takemichi walking up to mostly the leader. The leader says, huh? Well, your name is this word before he can even say anything, a punch, clocking the fuck out. Takemichi says, shut the hell up, you delinquent. All of you other delinquents, I'm gonna show you what hell is for real. This is where, well, they're all scaring shitless because they just see their leader taken out by a 2nd year, and they are 3rd years, and yet they get clocked the fuck out so easily. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi decides to slave drive them. Literally starts kind of telling them, give me multiple laps. If you don't give me multiple laps, I'll make to break all your damn ankles so you can give me multiple laps or you're just crawling down. He was basically screaming at them until to make them good people, good citizens. And literally they were scared shitless when they were waking up in an instant because they did not know what to do. They were just scared shitless in an instant. And they had to give laps because they did not want to die against Takemichi. But yeah, but they were run to the fucking ground thanks to Takemichi. And Takemichi is literally, he used to be a drill sergeant in most of the Marines, so of course him just drilling people down to the ground and making them feel like hell and shit is literally something fun for him to do, because he loved doing that to almost all the new cadets in most of the Marines. But not the point. Of course, this is where, well, he was basically kind of just training them, but not really, just giving them random tasks just to kind of fuck with them, but not the point. This is where, well, he remembers Garp kind of doing that, and this is where, well, he just remembers the good old days. But this is where, well, not the point. Mostly those guys were never delinquents ever again. They were literally just good people. They never smoked ever again, because if they smoked right in front of Takemichi, Takemichi's head literally steps towards them, towards their direction, which scared them shitless. And look at what Takemichi's look was, a look of, you keep smoking, I'm gonna make sure to be smoking you in a pack of fucking, well, mostly in a pack. This is where, well, mostly he was just gonna beat the shit out of them. Mostly they were scared shitless. They never wanted to fight Takemichi ever again. But mostly there was no longer any delinquents in the school, which Hima was happy. She didn't need to deal with delinquents or any of that. But this is where, well, Takemichi didn't stop there. He went around the entire town near his house to get rid of some delinquents. And of course there was always a couple of delinquents, even those who were actually high schoolers. They were kind of mostly fighting against some delinquents who were actually kind of younger than Takemichi themselves, being at least like first years. Mostly from a different school that was picking a fight with mostly high school delinquents. But they weren't like Mikey or the others, but not the point. But before them kind of like doing anything, Takemichi appears. This is where, well, he cracked his hands and sees the kind of like first years, kind of like high schoolers, kind of just sees the Takemichi walking up to them, and they were never the same ever again. When Takemichi just walked up to them and clocked one son of a bitch out. That's where the others fall in line real fast. Even the first years who were middle schoolers, Takemichi had this very threatening aura around him. Like, if you did not listen to him, he will drill you to the fucking ground until you become a good citizen. So yeah, he was getting rid of all the delinquents around the entire place. Getting rid of all trash that he sees. But not the point. Of course, he might have accidentally had a run-in with mostly Toma. And mostly, it was just one time. Mostly, what's it called? It was a guy who looks quite fat, and of course had a bun of his hair on top. Of course, well, he actually bumped into Takemichi, which Takemichi did not like that, because the person just says, "Hey, you fucking loser! Watch where you're going." This is where the other guy who was named Pat says, "Yeah, watch where you're going." This is where Takemichi did not take that fucking lightly. He is not the type to be taking fucking disrespect from little shits. This is where, well, mostly even though they're older than Takemichi, Takemichi clocked the shit out of mostly the fat dude, knocking him out clean. This is where Pat was saying, this is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, "Tell me, are you some kind of delinquent?" Mostly Takemichi said in a very straight voice and tone. And this is where the person says, "Of course I'm a delinquent. Well, I'm gonna drill you to the fucking ground then." This is where mostly the person realized that Takemichi is not normal. This is where, well, for some reason he got the expression of like a drill sergeant in an insane from Takemichi. This is where, well, mostly the person says, "Oh yeah, then bring it on." Takemichi clocked the motherfucker out and then just sprayed kind of like cold water upon them and starts kind of drilling them to the ground. If they did not fucking move their ass or get stronger or basically do the work that they needed to do, Takemichi would literally scream at them to kind of them almost bursting into tears, because mostly Takemichi was the type of person that if you did not listen to him, he will either break your ankles, punch a shit of you, or drill you to the ground. Yes, Takemichi was a menace right now. This is where both Pat and even what's it called, the fat dude, I forgot his name, were kind of scared of Takemichi. So of course they avoid to ever go around Takemichi's kind of like hometown, mostly around the town, that one place near that school at all. They just try to avoid that entirely. Which mostly Toma was confused. Even Mikey, he asked him if they're okay, which mostly they say, yeah, they're fine. They're perfectly fine. They're not trauma at all. This is where, well, mostly they're scared, but yeah. But we go into mostly Takemichi one day just walking outside, taking a nice walk through the park, mostly doing a jog, but not the point. But of course, well, he noticed a couple people actually like beating up this like mostly like older kind of like high school or someone that kind of looks like Pat and the others kind of age that were, yeah, mostly that Takemichi just drilled them to the ground, but not the point. He also noticed that the group of guys beat the shit of the guy, kind of holding him down, and the girl was actually about to get, R. But this is where, well, before anything happened, Takemichi appeared in an instant, clocking the motherfucker out. Why not kicking him, well, not even punching him, kicking him in the fucking stomach so hard, breaking some ribs and pushing him off the girl. The girl was actually shocked but then thankful. She was confused and who exactly appeared, but it was none other than Takemichi. And Takemichi, I should mention, he's wearing a white coat on him that he actually decided to get to kind of remind him of the Marines because, well, he actually did put on the back Marines and mostly a hat on top of him saying Marines, but not the point. To show that he's a hero and not a delinquent, he would take out this trash in an instant. Because he knows the cops won't be able to do that much stuff, maybe throw them into juvie, but they won't be able to turn into good citizens through juvie. So all they need is a good cracking on their skulls to turn them into good citizens. Other than that, there's also other ways for them to become good citizens. But not the point. Takemichi decides to take the law upon himself, cracking his knuckles right in front of these delinquents, right in front of him. This is where, well, one dude actually had a red kind of coat. The others kind of had like this mostly gray kind of coat. But not the point. I don't know why I said right. But not the point. Mostly gray kind of coat, and of course, one of them had red, but not the point. Mostly the guy was smoking a cigar and saying, "Who the hell are you? Why is a brat here?" Kind of. This is where, well, before the guy can even keep talking, Takemichi sends such a powerful left hook up the guy's kind of chin, clocking his fucking teeth in and knocking him out. Takemichi says, "Shut up! You don't deserve to talk. I am here and I will fight for justice. I'll make all of you become good citizens through a lot of pain if I have to." This is where Takemichi just cracks his knuckles. Basically, he cracks his hands by just kind of like mostly putting pressure into his hand. Think of it like Luffy when he kind of does that. When he just kind of cracks him by just kind of just like mostly like putting his hand similar to that of mostly a fist, but mostly just kind of like close him a little bit, but still has them wide open. But this is where, well, he just crack. This is where, well, mostly everyone realized that their leader just got knocked the fuck out. And of course, most of the leader was none other than Olsen, and of course, he was mostly the group leader of what's it called, Molizion or whatever the fuck I said. What was it again? So there were the mostly group of Mobius, and this is where, well, mostly the other people that were holding down the boyfriend of the girlfriend. This is where, well, Takemichi appears in front of the guy, kicking him so hard off the guy, and this is where, well, Takemichi says, "Hey, you two, I need you to get out of here now." This is where, well, both of them nodded because mostly they were not going to fight against the second year, who was literally, clearly having a Marine hat and a Marine coat, and literally having the power to knock out grown men in an instant, and having also this quite dangerous, mostly like aura around him that will literally make sure to kind of turn you into a good citizen, but not the point. This is where we'll see they nodded and just kind of run off. This is where the Mobius kind of gang wanted to go after them, still to kind of get pleasure out of the girl. But this is where, well, mostly Takemichi did not let that happen. Instead, what he did was punch the ground so hard, cracking it and making a small earthquake appear. This is where almost all the Mobius leader, not Mobius leaders, mostly Mobius members wind their eyes in an instant, because this person isn't normal. And instead, mostly Takemichi right now grabs the ground in an instant, while mostly putting like all 5 of his fingers down to the ground, picking up a huge piece of chunk of like rock off of the stone, mostly the concrete. And this is where he has this huge concrete like ball in his hand. This is where, well, Takemichi says, "Let's play a little game called dodgeball." This is where, well, all of them widen their eyes when they see Takemichi chuck that motherfucker so fast that it cracks through some trees in an instant. This is where all of them realize that, holy shit. They all realize that they need to be going. They need to be dodging because they know that this fucking concrete ball will kill them in an instant. Takemichi says, "Where the hell do you think you're going? Either you dodge or you fight me. Get your ass over here, boy. Don't you think you can just run away from me? You either become a good citizen or I'll make sure you become a good citizen." This is where all of them are running like, "Help us! Oh, hell no!" This is where literally almost a chunk of rock almost smashed upon one of them. This is where all of them realize, fuck. One dude says, "You know what? He's not gonna hit us with that. I can prove that right. He's probably just making us try to be scared." One dude said. This is where a chunk of fucking rock smashes into his chest in an instant and he falls down to the ground like a bitch. This is where Takemichi says, "Huh? You said something? Oh, I didn't hear you that well. Who else want to talk?" This is where everyone else starts fucking running. They realize that they either fucking become good citizens or they die. They saw fucking, well, mostly Ethan got knocked the fuck out. Mostly that person was named Ethan, but not the point. But they just saw him get knocked the fuck out and he's gone. He is probably dead. This is where all of them just start fucking running. Fuck, run. Everyone was just screaming at each other, just run like hell, because this person is a psychopath. This person doesn't care. This person's a menace. Yes, also, Takemichi was literally trained by Garp, so what do you expect? Garp is literally a menace to be training people. But not the point. This is where Takemichi says, come here. You don't need to run from me. This is called dodgeball, not running away from me. I'm only asking you to dodge. This is where Takemichi is right now holding like pillars of like stone balls next to his hands. Just holding on to them like he doesn't care. This is where, well, mostly all of the Mobius members are just scared shitless. This is like a horror movie. A horror movie for all of them. This is where, well, they're like saying, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? Takemichi say, huh? Did I hear someone? Oh, that must have been the wind. Takemichi says, you know what? Whatever. I should throw all these pillars of rock up in the air. Maybe upon those trees. Yes. You know what? I just leave them there. If it kills anyone who's hiding behind those trees, well, it's too bad for them. They didn't want to play dodgeball. Or should I say dodge ball, because they only had to dodge the balls. I mean, they could have also grabbed the balls and tried to throw them back to me. It would have been fun. All of them are nothing but pathetic bitches. This is where, well, he glares at the tree line, and this is where almost all the Mobius members just go up and then realize that they're dead. If mostly, Takemichi finds him. Takemichi started walking away until mostly Takemichi turned around so fast. This is where he still has a mostly rock ball in his hand. This is where, well, he then says, dodge! This is where he throws the ball so hard, so fast, straight to some like tree lines, and everyone ducked in an instant, but one guy had his hair shaved in an instant, turning bald in an instant. This is where the guy goes, falls down in an instant. The others right now give up in an instant and start pleading for mercy for Takemichi. Takemichi says, will you become good citizens now? This is where Takemichi had this very dangerous aura from him. And this is where all of them say, yes, we will become good citizens. Please don't hurt us. Please don't hurt us. Please don't hurt us. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, good. If I find you one again, either trying to do something to a lovely lady or anything, I will find you. I will hurt you. I'll break your ankles. And I'll make you eat solid food through a fucking, well, mostly straw. This is where, well, all of them right now go and realizing that Takemichi threats are not a lie, they're a fucking promise. This is where all of them say, yes sir. This is where all of them starts running away, but yeah. This is where Takemichi says, pathetic bitch. Now he destroys Mobius instantly. He did not care. He really fucked him up in an instant. But that is not the point here or there. We go into a time skip of mostly, well, Mobius being disbanded, of course, mostly Ozen getting knocked the fuck out and having mostly a broken jawline, but not the point. Who cares about him that much? This is where, well, mostly Takemichi walks up, and of course, where, well, he kind of accidentally bumped into a group of, like, thugs, and this is where, well, they are laughing. This is where, well, he kind of noticed they bump into him. This is where Takemichi said, hey, you three. This is where one person turns around and says, huh, you said something? This is where Takemichi says, did you just bump into me and not apologize? You did that on purpose. This is where mostly the person says, yeah, and what if I did? Huh, what are you gonna do? Huh? This is where, well, mostly he looks to be like some kind of senior or any of that, and he seems to be quite cocky. Very cocky. And Takemichi doesn't like cocky people, because he has met quite a good fair share of mostly cocky people in the Marines. He grabs a guy from the collar and says, oh, you know what I'm gonna do to you? I'm gonna smash your face into the ground and make sure your cocky fucking attitude can change. The guy says, what do you mean? Boom! He smashed the guy to the ground so hard that mostly the other two turn around, seeing his friend right now having blood on the ground. And this is where, well, mostly Takemichi noticed the other two. Noticed a guy with glasses and kind of blondish hair, and it's none other than Kisuke. Kisuke right now had a terrified look because it's none other than mostly Takemichi Hanaki, that's mostly one person that he's jealous of for being a hero and taking Hima's heart away. And he noticed that Takemichi hurt that man so fucking fast to the ground and cracked his face that he realized that Takemichi changed really fast. Takemichi says, huh? Oh, sorry. I only did that because your friend was very cocky and arrogant, so I had to teach him some manners. The other guy says, huh? You bastard! He rushes at Takemichi with a knife, and this is where before he can even attack Takemichi with a knife, Takemichi grabbed the knife in an instant by his hand and just snapped the blade in an instant. Oops, that was hurting my hand. I'm bleeding from my hand. Look at that. The guy right now winding his eyes and Takemichi says, having weapons in mostly public places is against the law. So you know what I should do to you? I should break your bones. This is where Takemichi said it so fucking casually. Like it was a normal, casual kind of tone. Like if he was talking about the damn weather. This is where Takemichi grabbed the man from the face and smashed him down to the ground in an instant. Takemichi says, also, where are you? Where the hell did he go? Kisuke's running away like hell. No. Takemichi says, huh? Is he running? I've never seen a criminal run so fast. He might be a problem in the near future. Takemichi says, but I always like to call it dodgeball. He grabs the ground and then he grabs a huge pillar of just rock. And Takemichi says, hey, don't run away from me. We're gonna play some dodgeball. Kisuke right now turns around and sees none other than Takemichi chasing after him so fast that mostly Kisuke is trying to run like hell. But then this is where he noticed a giant fucking massive rock of nothing but just concrete in Takemichi's hand. Takemichi says, we're gonna play some dodge whether you like it or not. I'm gonna make you to become a good citizen in the life turn. Mostly any criminal delinquent I see, I must turn them into a good person. This is where mostly Kisuke realized that, yeah, Takemichi does not care. He's on Menace time. This is where mostly Kisuke says, come on, I'll give you anything. I'll try to, I'll give you power and other shit. Takemichi says, I see. So you're talking a lot of criminal voice. I can hear that from your mouth. So we're gonna play some good old dodgeball. When I say dodgeball, I mean just dodge or die. This is where mostly Takemichi said in a very threatening tone. Kisuke right now winding his eyes when he sees a metal, just pure concrete rushing straight to his face, which he managed to dodge in an instant, trying to run away from mostly Takemichi. Takemichi says, where do you think you're going, boy? This is where he said in a very threatening voice, and Kisuke just running like him. He can't stop running because he knows that Takemichi would chase after him like a fucking tiger running after a deer. This is where he's like showing fucking fear worse than ever. He wanted to kind of kill, what's it called, Takemichi in the near future or whatever, for taking Hima, but he knows now Takemichi is not the person to be fucked with. He's not scared. He does not care. He will show delinquents what the wrath of fucking justice will prevail. He will be the mostly justice itself, but not the point. He was trained by Garp. He was also trained by mostly a very, very strong-willed justice person. And that is none other than what's it called? He was also kind of like taught from, not trained, but mostly taught from mostly Fleet Admiral Akainu to never let any criminal, he says, any criminal survive your wrath for justice. Because they could be the worst, scummiest people. Never let down your guard upon worst, scummy people. They could be the most arrogant, cocky motherfuckers out there, and they'll probably be evil. They probably have evil intentions, which none other than Takemichi can sense the person, because thanks to something called arization Hawking, he can sense the evil from the person. So of course Takemichi says, oh, where do you think you're going, boy? There's no such thing as running. Takemichi is right next to this person. The person's right now breathing really hard and saying, please, we can talk about this, Takemichi. Takemichi says, no, we can't. We really can't. You see why? You want to know why? Because I can feel some evil from you. And I do not like evil. You either become a good citizen or I'll break your ankles. This is where, we'll see. Kisuke had to do something, so of course he throws a very powerful punch into Takemichi's face, and it didn't do shit. It just sounded like a squeak. This is where Takemichi said, was that supposed to be a punch? Let me show you what a real punch is. Takemichi reels his hand back and clocked the shit of Kisuke in the face, knocking him down to the ground, realizing that, Kisuke can't do shit, because that punch was all the powerful punch that he could just throw. And yet, Takemichi tanks that shit like it's nothing. Yeah, Takemichi just starts saying, you either become a good person or I'll show you to become a good person. This is where, mostly Takemichi was beating the shit of Kisuke in an instant, really hurting him really bad. This is where, Kisuke falls down to the ground and really just passes out after a while, but not the point. Takemichi realized that he can't beat the shit of a conscious person, almost a knocked out person. He would, but then, he then feels bad, so he walks away, but yeah. For the one time, he just feels bad, but not the point. Not really, but yeah. Sometimes he feels bad, but not the point. He just thinks that mostly they will learn their lessons later. If not, then he would just come back and have more fun. Yeah, in his opinion, it's more fun for him. to hurt people, to make sure they become good people. But not the point. Takemichi now goes home, and of course, well, we go into mostly a time skip of mostly this incident happening about mostly a couple weeks later. Mostly Takemichi has been training again. He could talk to not to have a handshake, but instead he's just going to be training his body because he doesn't know about his past life if he comes back and decides to fuck up his body. Which, no, he's not doing that. He's making sure that he makes sure that in his middle school body should be in top shape, should be strong enough to knock people out with one punch, which he has been doing. But not the point. That's where, well, Takemichi has also kind of talked to Hima and also taken her on dates and been a lot more nicer than his original previous mostly memories. But not the point. This is where, well, mostly Takemichi kind of just like mostly is walking, well, home after a long day of training. And of course there was a festival today, so of course this is where Takemichi is going to go get ready. Until he gets a call. Well, mostly not a call, mostly he kind of is getting towards a place to kind of, well, just get his like mostly outfit, like a male kimono. I forgot what they call again. I think they're called yakuza. What not yakuza, yaku? No, I can't remember. But this is where mostly he was about to get towards a place to kind of buy it. But this is where he finds a rival gang kind of be fighting. This is where a person with mostly a cloak, when mostly people with cloaks are fighting against these other people with mostly, well, one of them looks to be a tall motherfucker, and he has what's it called, mostly this like patch of hair on top of his head, and of course he doesn't have a shirt right now on, and of course well, he's showing his tattoos and having a psychotic grin on his face. This is where he tries to attack the girl, who is actually, a girl. Mostly the leader's supposed to be a girl, but not the point. And this is where, well, mostly Takemichi noticed that these rival gangs are mostly something that he read upon. Yeah, he's going to have to take out all these gang members and make them become good people for the righteous, well, mostly the righteous side of justice. So Takemichi is walking towards these people without a care in the world. Now, of course, I should still mention that he's not wearing his like marine stuff, mostly a marine hat, but not the point. This is where, well, he knows a group of members from mostly the guy kind of group. Wait, let me actually remember what they're called. So the gang is called Rakaha Tenmayo. That's one of the gangs. The other one is called Brahmin. And this is what, well, mostly Takemichi is walking up to the guy who's about to punch the girl with kind of whitish hair and kind of like these bluish, I think, wait, is it bluish? So like a lightish kind of purplish hair, somewhat but whitish. Of course, she has blue eyes, and this is where, well, she was about to get punched in the face by none other than Soft Toronto. But this is where, well, before he even gets to punch her in the face, mostly, well, Takemichi managed to block the punch by just a kick. This is where, well, mostly Toronto was wide in his eyes, and this is where, well, he gets pushed back. This is where Takemichi says, "So you're South Toronto, aren't you?" South Toronto says, "Huh? How did you get towards me without my group?" This is where, well, Takemichi says, "Oh, I just told them to dodge." This is where mostly Toronto says, "What do you mean dodge? Just like a huge ball, just like this, just huge kind of like what's it called, concrete like ball just rolling down." And of course, where it kind of has blood, and this is where, well, some of the members of mostly Toronto's group were just knocked the fuck out with that goddamn pillar ball. This is where Toronto says, "What the hell?" Takemichi says, "Oh, that's not the point. You can call me the hero of justice. I'm here to take out delinquents just because that's a good way to make you people become good citizens." This is where mostly Toronto says, "Huh? Me? A good citizen? Do you realize I'm a mass murderer?" "I see. Since you're a mass murderer, there's no way to save you. There's only one thing to do, and that is kill you." This is where Takemichi said in a very cold, dead voice. This is where Toronto grins and right now rushes at Takemichi and says, "You won't be able to defeat me!" This is where he sent a very powerful punch to Takemichi's face, and it almost collided with Takemichi, but this is where Takemichi dodges to the right and just sends a powerful right hook up to Toronto's chin, knocking his shit out. This is where Toronto grins and says, "I'll show you something interesting." This is where he mostly actually uses Dark Impulse, because yes, he also has Dark Impulse, similar to Mikey, but this is where, well, mostly he's grinning and rushing at mostly Takemichi, saying, "I won't die!" This is where, well, he's grinning with such a vicious grin, and this is where Takemichi noticed that the person is using something interesting. It's not hawking, but it's interesting. This is where Takemichi uses a bit of Conqueror's Hawking to use on mostly Toronto. Toronto for some reason freezes, mostly seeing a very dark and malicious energy around Takemichi. Takemichi noticed that Toronto actually can feel the Hawking, the Conqueror's Hawking. It's the will upon mostly another person. This is where Toronto feels actually terrified of mostly Takemichi. It's not dark impulse, but something much more terrifying. Takemichi notices and says, well, it's time to just take this fight serious. Probably. Or maybe I should make him dodge. This is where mostly Takemichi he first punches the ground in an instant. This is where mostly Toronto was confused. Everyone was confused who was watching this. Those who were actually seeing mostly Takemichi's first hand dodge the fucking metal, or mostly not metal ball, mostly rock ball. They already know the first hand. But this is where Takemichi then puts his hand deeper into the mostly cement itself, picks up a giant mostly concrete ball, and this is where Takemichi says, hey Toronto, let's play a game. It's called Dodge the Ball. This is where mostly Toronto says, this is where mostly Toronto realized that he no longer has dark impulse because he is actually scared of mostly Takemichi. Takemichi is the first fucking person that he has seen just pick up fucking concrete, make it into a perfect sized ball. Someone mostly had some rock chunk, but that's not the point. First fucking person to do that. Pick that shit up and about to just play dodgeball. But it's not dodgeball for any other person. It's just him throwing this goddamn rock towards you so you can become a good citizen out of fear. Mostly that's the best way for people to actually become redeemable. But yeah, in Takemichi's words. This is where, mostly Toronto realized that Takemichi is not playing around. Because the ball literally almost hits him in the fucking face in an instant, but smashes into another person of his group. He realized that Takemichi is actually trying to kill him. Takemichi says, oh, oops. I can't throw my arm still hurt from a little bit of training a while ago I did. But don't worry, Toronto. We can still play the game. This is where Toronto says, I don't think I want to play the game. No, I think I'm gonna go. He realized that he is not fighting against another mass murderer. No, this person seems to have lots of experience and is a quite, mostly the true monster here. This is where, mostly Takemichi says, you are trying to run away. No, I can't let a delinquent like you, a mass murderer, to run away. A mass murderer should be, I can put you in the hospital. This is where mostly Toronto says, what do you mean? This is where Takemichi appears right in front of him, punching him so hard in the face, smashing him down to the ground, and this is where Takemichi did not stop there. He then grabs mostly Toronto from the leg and picks his shit up and launches him straight towards his own group, smashing into the others, and this is where some of them were all hurt, kind of broken ribs, so not the point. This is where Toronto tries to get up, but this is where Takemichi appears right now, slamming his boot upon Toronto's face, smashing him down to the ground. This is where Toronto was just instantly kind of knocked the fuck out. Takemichi says, hey, you gonna wake up anytime soon? He's already gone. This is where Takemichi says, oh, I forgot about you guys. What was your gang call again? I think it was Bronzeman or whatever. You guys are annoying. And I don't like having delinquents in this town, city, whatever. Don't worry, I'll be dealing with also the other delinquents. But for right now, I should be probably getting rid of you guys. This is where, unless you guys want to change. Who wants to change? Everyone in that whole group literally changed. They all had a heart of change. They all changed in an instant and says, we are not part of being delinquents no more. They literally take off their cloaks and just walk away slowly. Literally seeing the power of what fucking Takemichi did to these people. It wasn't even a fucking fight. It was a one-sided massacre. It was literally just Takemichi bullying them. Yeah, kind of. In his words, it's justice, but not the point. This is where, mostly all of them just kind of walked away. One girl actually was seeing this, and she actually started kind of falling in love with Takemichi, just because of how Takemichi is. He's quite brutal somewhat, but this is where, he does it out of mostly justice. And it's quite interesting. He does want to clean up, the whole streets of mostly the dark light, or mostly not dark light, the red light district and other shit. So, of course, he seems to be quite interesting in her words. This is where, she never actually expected to fall in love, but not the point. Takemichi says, so is that all of you leaving or what? And they all started just walking away. But yeah, even the vice captain, he started walking away from mostly, the actual true leader. This is where the leader, her name is Senju, and this is where, well, she is kind of realized her whole group is gone. She says cowards because, well, she doesn't want to back down entirely from Takemichi. Takemichi appears right in front of her and says, are you going to back down or not? Are you going to stop being a delinquent or not? This is where, well, mostly Senju scoffs and says, what if I don't? What are you going to do? Are you going to... This is where, well, Takemichi says, I can't really do anything to you. I mean, my hands are rated G for anyone. I mean, not G for anyone. Gender neutral. But you don't seem like the type of person to truly fight me unless you actually want something in return. Well, we'll see. Yeah, you kind of look like that type of person. And for some reason, I kind of have the weird feeling that you accidentally fell in love with me. Sorry, but I already have a girlfriend. This is where Senju was shot down in an instant. What? This is where, well, she actually said, of course, blushing a little bit, to realizing that Takemichi noticed her kind of feelings really fast. And of course, Takemichi is not dense because Takemichi literally kind of became a marine, and of course, there was a lot of marine girls always after him, lusting either after him, but not the point. But he completely usually ignored them entirely for his job because, well, his job was interesting more, not the point. This is where, well, we'll see, she was blushing instantly, and this is where she looks away, and this is where, well, she was absolutely upset in an instant hearing that Takemichi already has a girlfriend. This is where, well, she actually wanted to kind of mostly try to convince Takemichi to actually become hers instead of the other girl. But this is where Takemichi was walking away. Yeah, he went to go buy his kind of nice dress outfit for a festival that was happening tomorrow, but not the point. But we go into mostly Senju just seeing this, and this is where she noticed where he was going to a nice like tailor outfits just so he can get his outfit, but whatever. This is where, well, she spied on him for a second. And yes, this is kind of considered to be stalking, but mostly Takemichi just ignore her entirely. This is where, well, she did go to the tailor, mostly just tailor outfit thing, and requested an outfit, any type of outfit. And of course, where, well, she did manage to get her request accepted, and of course she managed to buy the thing. Of course, she kind of asked him where mostly is something going to happen here, or this where, well, the person says, yeah, there's a festival going to happen, and he explains to where it will be at. But yeah, this is where Senju now has a chance, a very good chance, to kind of talk to Takemichi a lot more. He seems to be a quite strong person and interested in a lot. He protects the weak. He shows that he is a quite interesting kind of fella. Of course, he's also very dangerous, but not the point. And she probably likes the fact that he lives kind of dangerously, quite very dangerously, but not the point. But this is where, well, we go into mostly a time skip of mostly, well, Takemichi was, well, mostly waking up that day. He woke up pretty early in the morning to go train. Well, he bumped into mostly a girl with mostly orangey hair, and she had orangey yellowish eyes, but not the point. Her name was, well, her name was Yuzaha Shiba, and of course, mostly Takemichi was kind of apologizing to her for bumping into her. Of course, she was fine with it. Of course, she was kind of, well, mostly they were both walking around. Of course, well, she was kind of upset for her little brother to be in a gang, and of course she was really hoping that he wasn't in the gang, but not entirely. This is where Takemichi was hearing her out just because she was talking out loud, and this is where Takemichi just says that he doesn't really like gangs too much because they're all quite, how should I say, dangerous and other things. And this is where, well, he just talks and other things, and this is where, well, she actually has someone to actually understand her feelings. This is where, well, she's happy. But of course, well, that was last short, well, mostly last kind of, barely lasted too long because mostly when they got to the house, they saw, well, mostly a group of gang members appear. Now, of course, they had a logo on their back to saying D, well, mostly BD, and of course, well, mostly someone red kind of like coat appears, and he also had mostly this symbol that said BD, and this is where, well, he had bluish hair and grayish eyes. Or not grayish eyes, grayish hair also. And this is where he had yellowish eyes, slicked a little bit. And he turns around and says, ah, Yuzaha, who exactly is this person? This is where Yuzaha says, no one. This is where, well, let's see, Takemichi says, who are you anyway? Can't believe I seen scum right in front of, what's it called, Yuzaha's house. This is where, well, mostly the person growls and says, what do you say? This is where, well, mostly Yuzaha says, no, wait, Takemichi, don't say that. This is where the person rushes in towards Takemichi and sending a powerful right hook into Takemichi, knocking him down to the ground. This is where, well, mostly the person says, I thought you were going to be stronger, yet you're nothing. This is where, well, mostly Yuzaha screams at mostly Takemichi's name out, and this is where she was scared until she noticed, well, mostly Takemichi walking away, and this is where, well, mostly, not Takemichi, mostly Taiju walking away because he is none other than Taiju Shiba, but this is where, well, mostly Takemichi gets up in an instant and says, ah, well, that was one way to wake me up. This is where mostly Yuzaha and even almost not Takemichi, Taiju kind of just wind their eyes when they see Takemichi get up. Even some of the Black Dragon members, they were like confused. They were like, "What the?" This is where, well, Takemichi said, "Ah, that was one way to wake me up. Not the point. That was nice right hook that you gave me. But it's now time for justice to prevail." Takemichi appears right in front of Taiju in an instant before Yuzuhana can even react or say anything. Takemichi sends a powerful left hook into mostly Taiju's face, launching him straight into a wall, denting his ass into that wall. This is where mostly Takemichi say, "Ah, that was an interesting warm up. Now who else wants to fight me?" This is where everyone just looks at Taiju just getting knocked the fuck out. Everyone wind their eyes. Even the two kind of vice captains of mostly Taiju. And this is where, well, they're like, they look back at mostly Takemichi, and Takemichi says, "Ah, well, it seems I have dented that person into the wall. Well, it's time to play some good old dodgeball with you guys." This is where mostly Takemichi had a very malicious grin on his face, which mostly scared and unnerved half of these people. This is where Takemichi right now punches the ground and then pulls out another nice chunk of rock. But this time it's not smaller. It's a quite big, medium-sized ball. Like, it's bigger than the ones that he's been using. The ones that he's been using are kind of like 4 feet. Well, not 4 feet, like 2 feet, but this time it's not 4 feet. This is where, well, Takemichi is like 4 feet from each side, but not the point. This is where Takemichi says, "Okay, let's dodge some, well, mostly dodgeball." All of them sees the giant concrete ball and they said, they all realize that they're either dead or they should just start fucking running. They all start fucking running in an instant. Some of them try to get on their motorcycle, but this is where Takemichi just swings the ball down on the ground and just tosses it like a fucking bowling ball, just rolling down straight for the mostly members of Black Dragon. This is where, well, mostly they are all running like hell, but they cannot get away from this massive ball that's trying to literally kill them. Literally, the person that they fought is not normal. This is where, well, we'll see Yuzuhana says, "Takemichi, what did he just do to them?" Takemichi says, "Oh, we were just playing bowling ball." Well, I did call it dodgeball. I should have called it bowling ball. Whatever. They should already know how to play the game. They should just stand. This is where Yuzuhana says, "No, they should not stand because they would literally die." And Takemichi says, "Meh, potato, potato, same thing." This is where Yuzuhana just size, but this is where, well, mostly Taiju managed to get out of the wall after a while. This is where he's angry until mostly he tries to punch mostly Takemichi when mostly both Yuzuhana and Takemichi were talking, and this is where he sends a powerful, well, mostly right hook into Takemichi's face, and it didn't do anything. Takemichi turns his face towards mostly Taiju, and this is where Yuzuhana just sees this and just sees that Takemichi took that punch. Without a care in the world. Yes, sir, Takemichi says, "You know, Taiju, that's your name, right? I might have to murder a bitch like you." This is what, well, mostly Takemichi said with a very malicious, or mostly malicious kind of tone in his voice. This is where Taiju says, "Bring it on then." This is where, well, Takemichi's clocked the motherfucker out right now instantly. He sends a powerful punch, but it was so fast that it looked like he didn't do anything. This is our mostly Taiju is knocked the fuck out. Bing! He is knocked out for the count. But yeah, this one, well, mostly Takemichi says, "Well, that was easy, Yuzuha." This is where Yuzuha says, "Yeah, that was, what the fuck? How did you, what, huh?" This is where, well, she's just looking at Takemichi so confused and just wondering how, why, and just how more. But this is where, well, mostly Takemichi says, "Don't know that much. Well, I should be going then." Well, if you're gonna go to that one festival, like, later that night, well, it'd be nice to see you, but I'll be going then. I gotta get ready for mostly a nice short nap and then getting ready for the afternoon. Other than that, bye. This is where, well, mostly Yuzuha says, "Bye? Wait, what festival?" This is where, well, mostly Yuzuha right now rushes inside to right now look at her calendar and realize that, yes, there's a festival going to happen today. She then has a very perverted thought in her mind, and a very giggling, mostly mind somewhat. she never thought that mostly she would be free from Taichu's kind of rule and tyrant from someone helping her. But of course, she didn't mind the person because they look kind of cute in her opinion. But this worked well. She can't tell if he asked her out or mostly just like a friend. But this worked well. She took it more than anything else, but not the point. But we go into mostly a time skip that day in the afternoon. But for right now, I'll be leaving it off for part 1. I wanted to do this into a movie so I can actually, what's it called, do the 600 special. But for right now, I'm gonna just leave it off here for right now. Bye, see you, and yeah. Also, my voice kind of hurts a lot, which I've been talking for a while. But other than that, bye, see you. Yeah. Also, my phone is about to die, so yeah, bye.